A thought that is so prominent in both the Psalms and the Proverbs is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. We see it in Proverbs 1:7, 9:10, Psalm 14:1 says, "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God." They are corrupt. They've done abominable works. There's nothing to do with good. They are worldly wise, but scripturally ignorant. And we see this the more as ages develop. We see that man is ignorant of what really counts, but wise unto that which is evil. I'm reading now from 1 Corinthians chapter 3. We're going to verses 18 through 21. 1 Corinthians 3:18. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Therefore let no man glory in men, for all things are yours. The fool has said in his heart, there's no God. A growing philosophy today. We don't need God, so let's just discount him. There's no God. Everyone is born with a sense of God. A child can easily be taught godliness because he is created, he is made in the image of God with a God consciousness. An atheist is taught by his environment. So we see in Proverbs 22 verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Now, for a Christian, that should be an easy thing. However, many Christians are taken up with the things of this world, and they send their children to daycare, then to pre-primary, then to a secular school. They are taught evolution, they are taught the things of the world, and as he gets older, he becomes an atheist. He's not even taught that there is a God. So we see the importance of Sunday school, good news clubs, Christian education in schools. But our current social media, well, there you have it. That's why Paul said in Romans 16, verse 19, I would have you wise unto that which is good and simple. Well, that word simple means ignorant, unlearned, untaught, concerning evil. However, man has changed that around. The way of the world is we want to be wise according to the evil and simple concerning that which is good. Thus we have a growing problem of wars and calamities and unrest and crime and all the corruptions of the world, and they wonder why. Even Christians can be taken up with this. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Leave the Lord out and you are, do I want to use the word stupid? I'm going now back to 1 Samuel, chapter 8. Familiar, I'm sure, to many of us, the reason why Israel fell into sin and chose a human leader. I'm reading the first 5 verses of 1 Samuel chapter 8. Samuel was a prophet and a priest and a judge. All 3 offices he filled, and he did a good job. He was godly. But what happened? He forgot to raise his children in the way they should go. I'm going to read now the first 5 verses of 1 Samuel 8. And it came to pass when Samuel was old, and He made his sons judges over Israel. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said to him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. His sons were not being taught the things of the law and the things of the Lord and the repercussions of disobedience. The greed. They followed after filthy lucre, which is they were greedy of base gain, greedy of money. Money ruled. And is it true today? Many times I ask a person, why don't you spend more time in church? Haven't seen you in Sunday school for a while. Haven't seen you in church. Where have you been? Oh, I have to make a living, you know. Some people have to work. And they try and put me to shame. That means to say I don't work. Well, the greed, and I'm thinking of a familiar person, Jimmy Baker, televangelist, very popular in his day. Greedy after filthy lucre. He was one of the top leaders in the Christian circles in his day. Great was his downfall, if you follow his story. Men think they're very clever and they can change things according to what they want. For example, climate change. And the more we try, the more millions and billions and probably even trillions of dollars we spend on this, the worse it gets. We've never had such a calamity of climate before, and yet we've been trying this for, 30 years, 40 years to change the climate. Wake-up call. What's God doing? Showing us that our wisdom doesn't amount to a great deal. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And yet they turn away from the things of God. You know what happened in the Tower of Babel? Back in Genesis chapter 11, verses 4 through 9, if we're going to be going back that far in the scriptures, God had to set things straight because man, in his wisdom, was making a mess of things. I'm going to read now Genesis chapter 11, verse 4. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top unto heaven. Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So they did. They founded this city, started to build this tower. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have a one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, God says. Let us go down. Let us go down. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. All right? Let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad upon the face of the whole earth. They left off to build the city. That which they tried to protect themselves from God used the very same thing, confused their language, and they were scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. God made foolish man's wisdom. God's going to do it again too. In 1 Corinthians 2, verses 7 and 8. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom of God ordained before the world unto our glory, which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. They still don't know it. In their worldly wisdom, they still reject the things of God. In fact, in the religious realm, they learn sociology and philosophy and psychology and all the higher criticism of religion, and they leave off the essential part that Christ died for our sin. In him we have life. We can solve our own problems, the world says. Give us enough money, enough time, enough education, we will take care of ourselves. We don't need God. Well, going back to 1 Corinthians 3:19, what we read, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. Because it's written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. That's a quote from Job 5, verse 13. Where does one go for wisdom? The one who created us. The one who created the world. All the things about us are created for our learning. Spiritual learning. Who made the sun, the moon, and the stars? Who made this world? Who made you? And the answer to all this is God. No other possibility. The Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord. His word, rightly divided, Paul's letters, they alone are for us, and yet they reject it and go to what man says the Bible should say. The wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. So said the Scriptures, and so it's true. So where do you go for wisdom? To the origin of wisdom, God himself and his word, which is for our learning, for our correction, for our admonition, for our wisdom. May it be so in your life.